Today I'm going to number these rational numbers in order from least to greatest. In other words, ascending order. And so the first thing that I like to do is put them all in the same form. And we're going to use decimal form. 4.15 is already a decimal. So I'm going to leave that and I'm going to move over to 41%. I'm going to Dr. Pepper it. So 41% as a decimal is 0.41. 4.1 is already a decimal, negative 4.5 is already a decimal, and now I'm going to change 3 halves to a decimal. Remember, it's numerator, divide, denominator to give us 1.5. So now the best way, or the easiest way, to put numbers in order from least to greatest is to use a number line. So it looks like the largest number I have is about 4.15, and the smallest number I have is negative 4.5. So that's what I'm going to make my range. I'm going to make my range negative 4, 0, and then I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could, if you wanted also, you could put the integers in too. And so now that I've got my number line set up, I'm going to go ahead and start plotting. 4 and 1500ths is going to be just past 4. So there it is. And then 0.41 is going to be in between 0 and 1, kind of close to the halfway point, but not quite. And then 4.1 is going to go directly, it's going to go kind of right in front of, or in between 4 and 4.15. And then negative 4.5 is going to go down here, halfway in between negative 4 and negative 5. And then we have 3 halves, which is 1.5. So that goes directly between 1 and 2. So now I have my numbers in order from least to greatest. So I just have to list them. So to do that, I'm going to start with negative 4.5 is the smallest. The next number on my number line is 0.41, but I want to write it in the original form. The equivalent is 41%. Then I have next is 1.5, which was originally 3 halves. Then the next number is going to be 4.1. And I ended with 4.15. Okay, the next set of rational numbers we're going to put in order from least to greatest is number 2. So let's go ahead and remember we want to change all of the numbers to the same form. We're going to use decimal form today. So how do I change a mixed number? I write the integer. And then I do top divide bottom. So I'm going to do 2 divided by 11, which gives me 0.18 repeating. Okay. The next one is 12 over 4. So I'm going to simplify that, which is 3, right at above there. Now I have the negative square root of 16. So remember, I leave my negative on the outside, and then the square root of 16 is 4. Negative 9.2 is already a decimal, and I have to change 100%. A percent is not a decimal. That's not 100, so I have to Dr. Pepper, and that will give me 1.00. So now I'm going to use my number line. And it looks like I have everything from negative 4 as my smallest all the way up to 9. So I'm going to kind of group things a little bit closely together today. May not be to scale. There's negative 4. I'll do 0 over here. And then I'll go 1. Okay. So let's go ahead and start plotting. 9 and 1800ths repeating is going to go directly past 9 over here, kind of towards the end. I'll draw an arrow to it, so you know that's where that is. 3 is going to be right here, directly on 3. -4 is going to be directly on -4. -9.2, ooh, that's going to be way past -4, so I'm going to put it down here. Now, I didn't even make my number line quite long enough, but you can know that -9 is going to be farther to the left than -4. And then 100% is exactly 1. That was 1.00. And so now I'm going to order my numbers. So the very first one that I see is -9.2. So I'll go ahead and write that first. And that was the original. So I'll write that. And then the next number is -4. Well, -4 was equivalent to negative square root of 16. So I'm going to write the number in the original form. And then the next one on my number line is 1, which was 100% in the original form. Then the next number I come to is 3, which was 12/4 in the original form. And then the last number on my number line is 9 and 0.18 repeating, which was 9 and 2/11. So now your numbers are listed in ascending order from least to greatest. Now the directions for 3 and 4 say that we are going to order the numbers from greatest to least, or in descending order. We can still use a number line, but we're actually going to work down the number line for descending rather than up the number line like we do for ascending. So let's go ahead and change our numbers to all the same form. So I'm going to keep my 8 and then put my decimal. And now for my fraction, numerator 7 divided by 12 gives me 5, 8, and 3 repeating. 0 is already in original form. The square root of 10, I'm going to have to find the value for that. And that gives me approximately 3.162. I'm going to take them out to the thousandths place since my other decimal was written out to the thousandths. I'm going to go ahead and take my square root of 10 out to the thousandths place as well. And then 8%, remember 8%, we're going to Dr. Pepper it, so we're going to move it over 2 spaces to the left, fill it in with a 0 to give me 0 and 800ths. And then for 80%, do the same thing. So that's going to be 8/10. So go ahead and draw your number line. Looks like according to my decimals, the largest number I have is 8, and the smallest number I have might be 0 and 800ths. So we'll just check that. I'm going to go ahead and put 0 over here. No negatives in this problem. And then I'll put 8 up here. And 1. Oops, I ran out of room. I'm going to have to move it. Make an extra one. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot. 8.583 repeating is going to go right about here, a little bit past halfway in between 8 and 9. 0 is going to be plotted exactly there. Square root of 10 will go a little bit past 3. 8% is going to be pretty close to 0. And 0.8 or 0.80 is going to go closer to 1. Okay. Now remember, I'm supposed to be doing descending. I'm going down the number line. So the first number I need to put is 8.583 in its original form, which is 8 and 7/12. The next number, that I come to going down the number line is 3.162, so that's the square root of 10. The next number I come to is 0.80, which is 80%. And then the next number is 0.08, which was originally 8%. And then the last number is 0. Right, for number 4, we're still going in descending order, so let's go ahead and change our numbers to the same form. We're going to use decimals. 5.2 repeating is already a decimal. Now I need to take the square root of 25, which is 5. 3 3/4, write the integer, and 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. The next one, 50%, Dr. Pepper, so that's 0.50. And then 5.4 is already in decimal form. So draw your number line. Remember, for descending, we are going to move down this way. We get smaller. Looks like the smallest number I have is 0.50, so I'm going to go ahead and make my number line from about 0 to 6. I think that should cover every number. So let's go ahead and start plotting. 5.2 repeating, because it's going to be a little bit past 5. Square root of 25 is exactly 5, so I'll put that there and draw a little arrow to it. 3.75 is going to go in between 3 and 4, a little bit closer to 4. 50% or 0.50 is going to go halfway in between 0 and 1. And then 5.4 is going to be a little bit past 5.2, almost to the halfway mark, but not quite. So I'll draw an arrow for that. That's going to be 5.4. So now, looking at my number line, the biggest number I have is 5.4. So I'm going to write that first. Then I'm moving past 5.4 to next is 5.2 repeating. Moving down, the next number I have is 5, which was originally the square root of 25, so I'll write that. Moving down the number line further, my next number is 3.75, which was originally 3 3/4. And then my last number that I have is 0.50, which was originally 50%. That's my smallest.